face in the dark, a case that time lost. But we're still listening, still holding on tight, shining a light in the heart of the night. Justice should never go cold. Every story deserves to be told. We're the voice when the world moves on, still asking questions long after they're gone. 'Cause it takes zero effort to be a good human being, and every name is more than just a feeling. Justice should never go cold. No, justice should never go cold.
Hello, everyone. I hope y'all like the new intro. You know, I'm a firm believer that justice should never go cold, and that it does take zero effort to be a good human being. Today, we're going to be diving into a disturbing true crime comparison between a real life serial killer who stalked New Orleans for over a decade and a chilling anonymous caller to the Howard Stern show who claimed to have murdered multiple women. Now, the question is, was this just a hoax? Or was Clay, the guy that called in, confessing to killing or confessing to now being the Storyville Slayer? Y'all might want to grab your coffee, take a breath. This one is going to get dark. First of all, who was the Storyville Slayer? Now, between the early 1900s and mid 2000s, over 24 men and women, mostly from vulnerable communities, went missing and were found murdered from New Orleans. Many of the bodies was dumped in canals, rivers, swamps, and abandoned lots. Investigators noticed a pattern. These victims weren't just random. They were often sex workers, drug users, and individuals who, for a lack of a better term, were unhomed. Most of them were strangled, some dumped in similar areas, and several were found face down, partially clothed, and with signs of post-mortem staging. The media dubbed this elusive predator the Storyville Slayer, referencing an old red light district in New Orleans. Multiple suspects were questioned. One was actually a police officer, but no one was ever formally charged with the full string of killings. Despite the similarities, law enforcement wasn't sure if it was one serial killer or several. Operating under the radar in the city known for chaos in New Orleans. Now, like I said, they had suspects. One was a police officer, but ultimately nobody was charged. Now, we're going to go over this call because in early 1997, Howard Stern takes a live call on air. A man calling himself Clay claims to have killed 12 women, mostly sex workers. Now, let's watch the. Okay, just a second. Wrong one. Here we go. I guess I better. Sorry, y'all. Share screen. I want y'all to be able to hear it. Now, let's listen to this call and see what we gather from it. Online sleuths, this is one you might want to dig into.
Yeah. No, I've never killed a kitten.
All right, I got a guy on the phone who claims he's been killing prostitutes and he's wondering why he's doing it.
Oh,
So maybe he thinks I have an answer. Is this Ed? Ed?
No, this isn't Ed.
Oh.
You haven't killed any prostitutes?
My first question would be, where did they get that name from? I mean, he didn't pull Ed out of the air. He doesn't explain why he called him Ed in the first place. But let's listen to what he says.
No, I never said my name was Ed.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's okay.
What name do you use?
You can call me Clay.
Clay?
Notice he says, you can call me Clay. He doesn't say that his name is Clay.
Clay?
Yes, Clay. Okay, Clay. So what happened? How many prostitutes have you killed?
12.
And you're wondering why you do it?
I have a pretty good idea.
Why? Did your mom beat you? Did your mom spank you?
Was your mom a prostitute?
No. Actually, nothing like that.
What is it then?
I think I just do it for the sense of the power.
All right. Do you have sex with them first?
Yes, and
And then what, you strangle them?
once.
How else did you kill them?
Well, a few times, actually most times with a hammer.
And where do you do this primarily?
I've done it twice in a parking garage, and then the rest of the times on the side of the road.
Okay, so he says he done it twice in the parking garage and the rest on the side of the road. Another thing that I'm kind of getting here is, at this point, I was asking myself, why is Howard Stern so calm? And I also said in the back of my mind, well, could it be because maybe he was trying to get information? Either one could be the truth. You know, what was going on here. We have no clue.
And you're from the New Orleans area?
Yes.
And how, I mean, what do you beat them to death with a hammer?
Man.
That usually only takes once, and
Dude, you got to have a lot of anger in you.
yes.
Man.
Well, why do you need to feel so powerful?
He's got some issue with women, but like some shrink's got to look into it. It's not even, I mean, you might as well just kill yourself if you killed 15 people. And that means you're heartless. Did you used to kill small animals?
No, I've killed a rat.
Yeah. See, a lot of guys start out killing kittens for some reason.
Yeah, they kill something before they start with humans.
If my kid like killed a kitten or something cute, I'd probably just, figure, well, this is it. They're going to be serial killers.
Kill them.
Dude, you're a serial killer.
Okay, that was kind of disturbing. The lady in the background, Howard says, if my kids killed a kitten or something, I'd be like, you're going to be a serial killer. But she says in the background, kill them. At this point, I was wondering who was the nutcase, but let's listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And you get away with it, I guess, because they're hookers, and so far nobody's... What?
Is this Howard?
Yeah. Hello? Hello?
I didn't know this was Howard.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Howard.
of course.
Yeah.
Okay, now that caught my attention because up until this point, I thought he was well aware of who he was talking to. But back in the day, when you called in, I guess you gave your spiel to somebody else and then they put your call through. But then my ears started perking up. Not really so much because of the New Orleans, although that was horrible, but because on this channel, we've been talking about the redhead killers. And in my opinion, there are several things that are common with what this man says.
Yeah. No, I've never killed a kitten.
Really?
Never killed any small animal except a rat?
Yeah, rats okay.
Well,
Rats I don't mind you killing.
But how'd you kill him?
the rat.
Yeah.
Stepped on his head, I bet.
We had a big flood a couple of years ago, and it's not actually a rat. It's called a nutria rat. And I clubbed it to death. It got in the kitchen of my work.
So how old were you when you killed your first woman?
16.
And you must be a powerful kind of guy, big guy.
I wasn't then.
Right. And when you killed your first woman.
Okay. He said he wasn't then. Well, he was 16 years old. But that takes me back to wondering, is he pranking them? Because a lot of, say, like Ted Bundy, he's believed to have started killing when he was young. So that's a trait that you normally hear about. So something he could think of on the fly. But this gets disturbing.
Did you go in there knowing you were going to kill her, or it just sort of happened?
I knew I really had it planned out. You know, I wanted to do the whole sending clues.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Are you in?
To baffle people, but it turned out no one noticed for a long time.
Right. Like you killed her on the side of the road?
Her, that was the parking garage.
Okay. And then what'd you do with the body? You dumped that somewhere?
Yeah, actually. I think she's probably one of the ones that they found.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, so you were sending clues?
Okay, that's the first one. He says she's probably one that they found. So there should be a record on here of somebody found with this description, right? In New Orleans, there was.
That you were going to do this?
No, I was.
He was going to
doing that.
He was going to leave like a note for the newspapers, and
But you decided not to.
he didn't want to be famous or draw attention to himself. But the problem is,
That's what I wanted to do. But
but you did, but no one noticed.
Did you notice what he said? No, that's what I wanted to do. But he's going to go on to say that they wasn't catching the clues.
The clues.
I never sent the clues. I never left anything. You know, I wanted to have my own little signature.
Right.
I wanted the thumb paint.
Oh,
with their thumbs.
Oh, really?
What do you want to do?
Thumb paint with their thumbs.
Thumb paint what, though?
I don't know.
Oh, anything. It was in a comic book a couple of years ago. Just seemed like a good idea.
Okay. He mentions a comic book here. And the only one that I can think of is maybe the Joker, where he left the Joker's card. And there's another part of this that makes me think he was imitating that.
Like you take the girl you killed, you dip her thumbs in paint, and then you do like a thumb painting?
Yes.
On a piece of paper?
Yeah.
Now, after you kill somebody, do you play with the body?
Actually, the closest I've ever done to that is I always make sure I pay them and I make sure they keep their money.
Oh, really?
When they're still alive, but with one of them I did put the money in a compromising place.
I see.
But this one, it had a penis.
Oh, really?
It was a guy.
Yeah, I didn't know at first.
So do you ever get, do you think the reason you're so angry is because you were abused or something?
No, I wasn't abused, Howard.
Where's your family?
You got a wife?
I mean, you got a mom, a dad, a wife, children. You got any of that?
I've got a couple of kids, but I'm
no wife.
not married to the mother.
You're a white guy?
Yeah, Howard, that's pretty funny because the only suspect they had when they started finding the bodies was a black police officer.
Oh.
And he thinks that's funny. But when you look at whom he was unaliving, the majority of those were African American.
Turns out one of them was associated with them.
Oh, really?
Are you on drugs?
I've done acid a few times.
So,
but nothing heavy.
So after you killed the first 60-year-old, like you finished.
No, I was 16.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
She was.
All right. So you finish with your sexual gratification, and then you.
Not always, no.
Not always. You don't even want to get laid sometimes.
No,
You just want to kill.
I'm just bored.
Right.
But does the killing sexually satisfy you in some way?
I can't believe Ed McMahon's not laughing.
I've eaten off thinking about it later.
Yeah.
What do you say?
That's about it.
He's pleasured himself thinking about it later.
Oh, he has. Okay. Now, how far apart are these murders? Like, do you murder and then, like, you feel satisfied for a while?
And that was sick.
I don't even understand why I do it, Howard. I don't know if I ever get any satisfaction.
Okay. So he directly contradicts himself. At the beginning of this, he says he does it for power. Now he's saying he don't know why he does it.
But how
The
often?
closest together anywhere was the same night.
Really?
You killed two people in the same night?
Yeah, but I went to Mississippi for the second one.
Okay, now that's important because everything that I found online said the reason that this caller would not be the redhead murderer serial killer is because it doesn't mention traveling. But he just mentioned that he went to Mississippi. And I don't know about you all, but it sounds like he has a southern voice to me. Let me know in the comments what you think.
So there's no pattern to how many weeks or days between murders?
No.
Are these mostly white chicks or black chicks?
It's a fair number of them have been black. The transvestite was black.
You think there's some racial motivation here?
No, Howard. They were just, let's just say a Jimmy Swaggart town.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy Swaggart town.
Don't know what that means.
Me neither, but...
That's pretty much the area around here where the prostitutes all hang out.
Oh.
I see.
And it's just whoever comes up to you. You don't pick a certain type?
I don't even approach them. I wait for them to approach me, Robin.
So
Do you
that's
ever,
like them asking for it.
do you ever, like, look into their eyes and go, you know, gee, these people were just children at one point, and maybe they just had a tough life?
I've let a couple go.
You have. Like, what happened? You're in the middle of killing them, and then they what do they say? Why would you let one go and kill the other?
There was this one.
Go ahead.
I think she was probably really new to it.
Yeah.
There was just something about her. Maybe she reminded me of my ex-fiance, but...
Right. You somehow relate...
More of an innocent quality.
You somehow felt bad for her.
Yeah.
And you have a fiance, so you're planning to get married?
No.
He had one.
Oh,
you say.
you had one.
No. If I wouldn't be a suspect, believe me, she'd...
But let me ask you, why'd you did you start to kill her and then, like you said, forget it? Or you just never even...
Not even.
You just had sex. You just had sex with her and then you let her go.
I didn't even have sex with her, Howard.
Well, that's weird. Now that's weird.
I mean, you just really felt sorry for them.
I don't know what she was doing what she was doing, but...
Are you a big fat mess?
But she got off lucky.
Are you a big fat mess, or are you like a fairly good-looking guy?
I'm not a big fat mess. I wouldn't call myself good looking. I don't know what I'd call myself, Howard.
Right.
Do you have a decent job and all that stuff?
Sounds like a bright guy.
Not decent like you have.
Yeah, well, we got ridiculous jobs.
You can't get these.
I don't even know that I'd call this a job. You know what I mean? This is not a normal
It's a
job.
made-up job.
Yeah, this is a job that's totally useless. You know what I mean? Like, nobody really needs it.
It's a scam.
To me, a job is like something like, a UPS driver is a
Yeah,
job.
it's a job.
All right. Not now. Thank you, Ed.
Maybe this is a UPS driver.
Ed laughs, but he has no job either. All right, so All right. This is always
But you
weird.
do work every day and stuff like that.
This is always weird, but I'm bringing, at least we can sort of get into the mind of a guy who serial kills. I think he's 100% on the level. So you killed your first woman.
When was the last time you killed?
It's been a few months.
Right.
Actually, it's been going on a year.
You're like the Boston Strangler, man. Maybe I should option your story. So what do you think you're going to do? Do you think you're going to kill yourself? Do you think that
Are you going to kill again?
Can you stop
If
this?
I killed myself, I'd miss the next Batman movie.
And there's your next reference to a comic book. He says that if he did that to himself, he would miss the next Batman movie. Now, another thing that he mentions is Jimmy Swaggart Town. This actually got me to wondering because Jimmy Swaggart was born in Faraday, Louisiana. So I'm wondering if even in this call was he dropping hints.
Right. You don't want to do that.
No.
As a fan.
Actually, I'd actually kill myself to miss
why
that.
would you want to stay for that?
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, do you think that you could control this? Do you think you can stop?
I think I have been.
Oh, you have been for the last couple of months.
A year he hasn't killed.
Oh, a year?
Yeah.
Almost.
So why do you think you stopped killing all of a sudden?
I really don't know, Howard. Part of it had to do with my car broke down.
Oh, no transportation.
Oh, yeah. Seriously? That's the reason?
Well, that was the reason for a month, but after that, I guess it was all self-control.
Wow.
Okay, and I did look this up, and in Louisiana, around that time, there was a man arrested. He was pleasuring himself on the side of the road. It was actually near where they found two bodies. Two bodies of the Storyville Slayer.
So you don't want to do this anymore?
No, he wants to do it, but he's controlling himself. Like you want to kill women, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And what do you like? Do you enjoy seeing them struggle as you kill them?
Actually, none of them really struggle.
Do you hit them from behind, or do they see it coming?
I can't get inside their minds, but let's just say I hit them.
But, I mean, are you facing them?
Yeah.
Oh, so you can see their face and everything when you do it.
Yeah.
I also want to mention that he says Jimmy Swaggart Town because of the place they hang out. We also, without going into grave detail, know that he could have been talking about the incident that Jimmy Swaggart got arrested for or got caught with paying for sex.
The worst I've ever gotten was one tried to grab my neck. I've never gotten any of the claw marks or anything that are dead giveaways.
Right. You must be very powerful.
I wouldn't call myself powerful. Maybe intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose this method?
I didn't, Robin. Like I told you, I really wanted to cut things up, mail things, send clues.
No, she means why did you use a hammer? You think you...
Because it was in a book I read.
Oh.
Well, everything's come from
Cartoons.
somebody else.
Yeah. When's the last time you got laid?
Last week, Howard.
Oh, yeah. So you didn't kill that girl?
No.
Because she wasn't a hooker?
No.
Right.
It's only hookers, though.
A lot of serial killers are only into hookers because they know, A,
Easy.
probably won't get caught, and B, they have some kind of anger toward hookers. Like, did you think your mom was a hooker or something?
No, Howard.
Your parents married and stay together and the whole thing?
Yeah.
Church-going people?
That'll do it.
Well, one of them, but...
Yeah. Religious fanatics give birth to the most serial killers because they're so repressed.
Yeah.
So there's no way I'm going to talk you into giving yourself up or anything, right?
No.
I shouldn't even waste my time. I know I'm going to get calls after this and people are going to go, Howard, how come you didn't catch him?
Has anybody ever been close to catching you?
No. Actually, someone once, when it was in the newspaper, someone joked to me. I know it was you, but they were joking.
Right.
Yeah.
You think you might be gay?
I hope not.
Right. Maybe you're a repressed homosexual. Were you ever molested?
No.
Do you have a lot of tattoos?
I don't have any tattoos. I wouldn't do that to myself.
Right.
And do you get high before you do this?
I've gotten pretty drunk before.
Yeah.
Little ammo.
The lame one.
Relax that shrink there. Well, I got to say, I wish you would die, but, you know, what can I tell you? I maybe this is sort of good that you're talking about it with me, and maybe it'll keep you under, like maybe I can't get you to turn
Maybe
yourself
it's like
in.
a valve, and he'll be able to go another year or something.
Yeah, but maybe somehow, you know, you won't do it anymore.
What about your kids? You want them living in a world with people like you?
Hasn't really analyzed it.
Anyway, I mean,
yeah.
Kind of lonely, though. You can't tell anybody about this.
I'm the only guy you can. Am I the only guy you ever told about this?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess that's sort of an honor.
I've told a couple of women, Howard, but
They're dead.
Yeah. Do you tell them first and then you kill them?
yeah.
What do you say to them? Let me.
Fun.
All right. Let's
Every
see.
now and then you can play the running game if you're out in the middle of nowhere, and we got a lot in the middle of nowhere down here.
Right. So, in other words, let's say you're with a woman, right? A hooker.
Yeah, Howard.
And you say to her, okay, honey, you know, you just had sex and everything. What do you say to her to torment her? How do you break the news to her that she's going to die?
It really depends on my mood.
Just give us an example.
Well, if I wanted to, I could just say Baba Booey, but that would be pretty,
No, come on, be serious. What do you say to him?
I can say you're going to die.
And then what do they do?
I like to articulate a little more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if you'll notice, this caller seems very, very calm. So again, my mind goes back to, was it a prank? Was it something that the show set up? I do know that the FBI actually got the video from this, but like I said, nobody was arrested. So does that mean they didn't find anything? Hey, Justin. I checked your channel out the other day, by the way. I did sub. I won't be dropping a link in this one because I'm covering a code case. I'm not doing an open panel, but I do appreciate you being here.
Sometimes I ask them if they think it's dangerous doing what they're doing, if they're worried about things, and they'll laugh it off, and that just pisses me off.
Right. And then you go ahead and you kill him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go.
Well, now we've shed no light on this. We don't know how a serial killer is made, and we don't know how to catch him.
Yeah, well, you know what? All the experts don't know either, so.
Now, I do want to say, I know that they go on to say people want to know why you didn't do more. Well, you can't reach through the phone. I get that. We can't trace the call because we don't have that kind of equipment. I get that. But what they could have done was contacted law enforcement and let them trace the call. Let them find out and just keep talking to him, keep him on there so they could.
Well, here's a guy, just another story. He's out
Well,
there.
you know, it's just it substantiates my theory. Did you get jealous of Cunanan? Is that why you're talking to us now?
No, actually, I was thinking about writing a musical about Andrew Cunanan, but
Guy's a comedian, too.
Huh?
Guy's hey, some psychologist is on the line. You want to talk to him?
Sure.
I mean, since you're looking for answers.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Robert?
Okay. And they basically get a psychologist on there, or he says he's a psychologist, that only ask him, did he set fires, which he says he did. Was he abused? Same questions they ask. So, what do we know? Let's compare some things. We're going to call this guy Clay because that's what he said he could be called, and compare him to the Storyville Slayer. Location, Howard mentions New Orleans. Not Clay, but it is mentioned. That was where the Storyville Slayer committed his crimes. Victim type, Clay talks about ladies of the night workers. And that was mostly what the Storyville Slayer unalived. The method of unaliving people, Clay mentions strangulation. Many victims of the Storyville Slayer was strangled. At body disposal, he says that they were dumped out of the way. The Storyville Slayer, the bodies was dumped in rivers and canals. First killed timeline. He says when he was 16. Now, we would need to know his age in order to determine when that was. And we don't have that information. But the first victim of the Storyville Slayer was in the early 90s that we know about. And what do we know about the caller? He was calm, detailed, and unremorseful. The Storyville Slayer, his demeanor was he avoided capture for decades. Now, this isn't a coincidence. Clay seems to know exactly how to prey on people society ignores. And the Storyville Slayer operated on the same way, which we also know from this channel that the Bible Belt Strangler, aka the redheaded murderer, did the same thing. He preyed on women that he didn't think society was going to look for. Now, also, let's play devil's advocate. What doesn't line up? Clay claimed he strangled all his victims, mostly in and around his apartment. Yet the Storyville Slayer victims were likely killed elsewhere. But now, he also said that some of them was in a parking garage, some was on the side of the road. So, the Stern Show call was never traced or followed up by authorities, meaning no hard evidence was linked to Clay to any crime. And some believe the Storyville Slayer wasn't one person, but multiple killers, making a single match harder to prove. Also, now let's not ignore the possibility that Clay was a sick prankster looking for attention. But if that's the case, how did he so accurately describe a serial killer's patterns? And keep in mind, this was before many cases was public. Now, to this day, what is really, really important is the Storyville Slayer case remains unsolved. Dozens of families still have no answers. Their loved ones was tossed aside both in life and death. And as for Clay, he has never been identified. The call has become internet lore, one of the creepiest moments in broadcast history. But what if he was real? What if the man who called into the comedy radio show was secretly confessing to being one of America's most exclusive serial killers? It's chilling, but it also reminds us that justice delayed is justice denied. Like I said, when I listened to this, I was also thinking about the redhead murders, because I have did some of those on here and intend on doing the rest of them. Now, I went to try to see what didn't line up, and that was exactly what I typed in, and it said that he didn't mention that Clay on this phone call never mentions traveling, and these crimes was committed from Kentucky, Tennessee, all across the Bible Belt. But he did mention traveling. He mentioned traveling to Mississippi. He sounds like he has a Southern accent. And if we compare the two, he says his victims, again, was sex workers. That was exactly what the redhead killer targeted. Now, they believe the redhead killer was a truck driver because those bodies was left along major roadways. The kill method was strangulation. Most of the redhead murders was done through strangulation. Where was the bodies disposed at? He says that he dumped them out of the way. And a couple times, these bodies, like the one in my hometown, was found in a refrigerator. So it would really take being inside of his mind to understand what he means by out of the way. Now, I didn't really hear him say he dumped them out of the way. I did hear him say that he would tell the people that he was going to kill them and let them run somewhere that is away from everything. The first time killed, again, we don't know the age of this man. So we don't know when his first unaliving was. The redhead murders started in the 80s. The demeanor, again, he was calm, detailed, and unremorseful. Now, with the redhead murders, this guy is not afraid to get caught. He threw his body on major roadways all across the Bible Belt. How many victims does the redhead murder strangler have? We have no clue, really. We know that there is at least 8. Another thing is one thing, again, playing devil's advocate, he doesn't mention red hair. He also does mention that the majority of his victims were African American. So I guess it just boils down to how much do we believe of this man's story. But regardless, it seems whether he was making up a big story just to get on the Howard Stern show, or if he was actually telling the truth, regardless, he seemed very, very calm when he was talking about these events. But on the same hand, so did Howard Stern. There's places in this that if you listen, he's laughing. Another part that stuck out with me, because if you watch this channel, you know I always say words matter. He didn't know he was talking to Howard, but there is one point that he calls Robin by name, yet she never gives her name in this interview. And you would think that Howard would be the one he knows the most. I come across this video today, and then I got to looking into the Storyville Slayer. Like I said, to this day, The Storyville Slayer case remains unsolved. There is families that still do not have answers, and their loved ones was tossed aside, both in life and in death. And what I mean by that is, I'm not talking about the families. I'm talking about law enforcement in these cases, because of the lifestyle that these women live. It's almost like they wrote it off and said they don't matter. On Cold Case Crystal, we say everyone matters. Every case, no matter who it is, deserves justice, because it takes zero effort to be a good human being. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you all tonight on Survivor House.